So this week, a lot of the topics were about women's representation or lack thereof in the media. And I really like this topic because I've definitely noticed it more and more as I've gotten older and consumed more media and learned a little more about feminism and just kind of became better at reflecting about what I just saw instead of just thinking everything is just for fun and everything's fine. And obviously, this isn't a new problem, something that just came around, but it seems like new problems keep arising with it. And even though obviously it has gotten better with more females getting more diverse parts and more roles, but there's just so much room for improvement in it, and there probably always will be. So a lot of the material focused on how underrepresented women were just in general, and if we are represented in the media, it's used with stereotypes or just you're mostly being objectified, and everyone on in my pod basically touched on that. And what I've noticed is how much better media is when it has more woman representation and they have more complex character roles, because it calls for more complex characters, there's more storylines, and there's just it becomes more interesting, whether that be a show or a movie or anything like that. And then I also noticed that shows that I watch, you can tell when a woman is involved with creating them, kind of. So if you look at shows like Scandal and Grey's Anatomy, which are created by Shonda Rhimes, or you can look at Broad City, which is a comedy show created by two women who also star in it, or you can look at Wonder Woman, which is a huge blockbuster starring and directed by a woman. So these are all just well done, new, they're fresh, and they have a woman on screen and in the production and working behind the scenes. And all of these things, really there hasn't been much either better than this or in the field, or they really stand out. And that goes from, dramatic TV shows to an action film to comedy. So really women should have a place in this, and they can improve it a lot when they're involved. An importance of more female in lead roles and behind the scenes as directors and producers will just help so much. I know Amber and Maddie talked about the male gaze and how it's so overplayed and simply just outdated. So many women go see movies, so many women are watching this, and they don't want to see it in the way a guy may see it. They're going to see it a little differently, and it can improve their experience a lot, and it can improve the experience of guys watching it because it's something new. They need to look at it from a different perspective. They've been seeing it from the same perspective their entire life. So we need more women that's in charge of these things that are, they're filming it, they're directing it, they're producing it, they're starring in it, and we're going to have a whole different outlook and a whole different perspective that isn't done as much yet, and we can obviously see that happening. And also this is relevant in like the headless faces of Hollywood that we looked at, because I know Hannah focused on that, because if women were doing this, it would probably be done differently. I also really, really liked the TED Talk by Roxane Gay. I thought the message was crucial, and it really went with feminist criticism. We don't really have to be perfect, and we don't have to condemn every single type of media that maybe represents women as a stereotype or doesn't pass the Bechdel test. You can appreciate a movie, and you can appreciate that it's good, you can appreciate that it's well done, but also call it out for not having enough representation, or because things can always be improved, and that's a good thing to realize that, and then you can work to make it better. And you don't have to condemn that and not listen, like she said, to rap music. You can still enjoy the things you enjoy as long as you're reflecting on that. And we don't have to be a perfect feminist, because there really is no such thing. Just own your own feminism. Try to see the problems when they arise and reflect on them and try to improve them when you can. We're not going to be perfect. We're not going to change our entire lifestyle right away. You have to make it your own and make sure that you're respecting other people. You're realizing that there are problems. So we can't condemn everything that's not perfect, because we're just setting ourselves up for failure. I really liked her video on that. Overall, I just really liked learning about all of this because I'm going into media myself, and I think it's really important that the newcomers into this profession should realize all this, because then when we start to take over, we're going to come in with that mindset. So we're going to change things as the younger generations come in, and we don't have to have a switch go off in our head like some of the older, more experienced people do, because they're just so used to, like, this is the way it should be. So if we start it off on a good note, we can improve it so much, and then the next generation will do the same thing when we mess up. So I think we just all need to be aware of these things going into it, because it shapes so much. The media just shapes so much of the way people think and what they think about. And any stereotype you see or underrepresentation you see in the media, that's how you really do think it is. Sometimes it can be embedded into society and into people. So I think it's a really important issue, and I'm glad we talked about it.